Yeah.
It's crazy.
So, Tyler, like what you said, I think there's a few interesting points. Like all Henry and Cunha, you all said the same thing. Like I think it comes down to the project we've sold to him, obviously, the project we're selling. Because truthfully, if we're being honest with him and saying, listen, we were a poorly run football team. Like what comes down to it is the biggest correlation to whether a football team succeeds or is a strong team throughout the world is their wage bill. That's actually the largest correlation. If you look at all the best teams throughout the world, the wage bill dictates how good they are. We are the absolute anomaly. I saw it on a chart the other day. It's like we are at the absolute bottom of how much we pay players and how we progress. So that's first thing you show somebody saying like we're not doing it right. Secondly, you say we don't know, like Henry, you said we don't know if he's good enough to get 200K a week yet. But if you incentivize it and say, listen, if you win the Prem or you win some big trophies, well, here's your bonuses and you'll get it. And it's there, it's in your contract. That's when you pay it. Because if we do turn up next year and we look like all of a sudden Emerald system's working or 2 years from now, and it's all doing extremely well, and you're like, oh yeah, cool. 200K makes perfect sense because you're going to be here for a long time because now we're winning with you. You're part of the core. You can't give a guy the money before he proves it. And we've done that so many times. Like you look at the Martials, I can go down the list of all these players that we gave so much money to, other tthan Pogba, who came in really acclaimed. All these other players we gave this money to, it was all because we thought they were going to be the guy, and then they weren't. So we can't keep doing it. Like you can't keep doing it. So if that was an absolute true demand, I would say you've got to sell them, but I don't think it is. And I think when you compare the Casemiros and such, the one thing you could say is, well, listen, Casemiro came with pedigree. At the end of the day, it was a bad deal to give him that much money, but he did come with 5 Champions League. He did come with, it's like if you go into a new job, any of you, and you come from an old job and you say, look at everything I've done at this job, you're not going to pay me less than I'm making now. You're going to pay me based on my accolades. So it's hard to use those. Anthony's a terrible example. That was just all around bad. But Casemiro is a very hard example for me to use because any club would have had to pay him that for him to play for them. Plain and simple.
Yeah, he won 5 Champions Leagues. Like he's
5 Champions League, World Cup. So you Brazil, you just can't not pay a guy like that. So that's how I look at it. I would never pay him 200K a week now, though. No chance.
No, listen, and I understand. I think that's fair what you're saying, and I think we've got to get the balance right. It's as simple as that at Man United, and it's one of these little things. Whenever I've seen so many journalists and so many rival fans go, "Well, what's been changing in the last 7-8 months at Man United? Tell me one thing that's changed." This is another case in point that we're not just going to throw ridiculous money at these young players before they've achieved anything. What's changed is that nobody is untouchable anymore, which has not been the case for a very long time. Doesn't mean they're doing everything right. It doesn't mean that everything's going to be perfect. Doesn't mean you cannot criticize things that go wrong or even call out decisions that may end up being right that you think are wrong in the first instance. But when I hear the lazy journalism, the lazy punditry of, well, I don't see what they're doing that's different. I saw an ex-Man United player the other day, Paul Scholes, say, name me one thing positive they've done. This process, this policy is positive because it's the complete opposite of what has partly led us to mass failure in the last 11 years. And we've got extreme examples of it. Alexis Sanchez, do you want to join Man United? No, thanks. I want to be a City player. We'll double your wages they're offering you. Oh, okay, great. I'll come. 4 hours into his first training session, why have I signed this contract? That is the type of approach that we should never go down again, because it yielded it was the beginning of the end of us financially.
Mercenary.
You also see things that it's like broke Ineos. Now, look, there's a weird view that these billionaires are broke. If we were as broke, though, as we're portraying in the media, why would Man United, along with Man City and 2 other clubs, be the leading force of stopping a spending cap being applied? Why would a broke club who doesn't want to spend, and I want a logical answer here, not the tripe, why would a broke club with a broke billionaire who you believe don't want to spend be pushing for a spending cap to not be applied?
Who was pushing to apply it? Was Arsenal included?
I don't know. I've just read the Man United part. You know that there was a spending cap thing that was proposed. There are a number of clubs that are trying to get that overturned. The point I'm making is, it's just not bring it onto Arsenal. If we were that broke, and if our owners are broke, and they only cared about saving money, why would they want a spending cap removed? See, that for me says they want to spend money, but what they're not going to do is what what Ed Woodward's that bloke who walks around the pubs, flashing his gold watch, flashing his cash, and then he gets mugged outside. Like, you want to move in a bit of silence. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so crazy to me that people don't read between the lines when it comes to these things that are being said. Lucky here puts a comment in that says, breaking news, Casemiro is close to leaving Man United. He's agreed to move to Saudi Arabia. Do you think that's the right move, Cam, for Casemiro to go? Highest paid player at the club, 350,000 a week.
Oh, yeah. So listen, I'm not one of those people. I love Staffy's my boy, so listen, slander him. I'm not one of those people who like hates him to the core and like just can't stand watching him play. Like, listen, when he came in, he gave us a bit of like people were like, this guy's a winner, and when he was scoring those goals, beating the chest, he wanted to play for the club. And I will say this: every time he was on the pitch, it looked like he did do his best, but his legs are gone, and we all could have seen that coming. I bet you every one of you when you saw that signing happen were like, we'll see how long this lasts. And I think it's the right move. If we can get him to Saudi, if we can get any money for him, let him finish his career getting paid a ton of money. He is a legend of the game. He's not just a legend of, Real Madrid. He's not a legend for us, but he's a legend of the game for what he's done and what he's accomplished. And I think if you can sell him, get those wages off the books, get people stop talking about having that much money on your bench, it would be perfect for our balance. It'd be great for I think it's just we need a reset on our players in the locker room too. And you get him out because he's probably a leader in there, but he's not making the money he wants. He's not playing, so he's probably sulking a bit naturally. I think you just got to clear guys out like that. The more and more him, Rashford, whoever we need to get rid of who are on these huge wages. I'm not going to say Bruno. I know people want me to, but I won't. But let him go and let him go gracefully. Let him go gracefully. Let him go gracefully. That's how I look at it.
I hear that. I think it's a massive one for us in terms of bringing new people in. So I'm all for it, and I'd rather see young Collier given some opportunities now. But I thank Castle. He came in, helped win us an FA Cup. He didn't play in the final, but he got us to help get us to the final.
League Cup. He won that game for us.
Integral in that League Cup as well. So he's come in and helped us win things. And do you know what? For a period of time when we were playing to a style that suited him, he really helped us. He came in that first season of Ten Hag where we were looking awful. He went into the midfield and he made us a better team. And he's not going to walk away some kind of legend, maybe a little bit of a cult hero, with some of the with the trophies, some of the goals, some of the red cards. But yeah, listen, I think it's the best thing for all parties. Marcy here says, if Mainoo's agent is doing this for his first big contract, then Mainoo's career could be in serious trouble. My advice, don't put yourself in golden handcuffs. Look, listen, let's see the outcome of it. I expect agents to try and get the absolute maximum for their players. This is about Man United ensuring that we keep his feet on the ground. Equally, where you could be right is if he's got an agent that says, don't care about legacy, just care about chasing money, you've got a problem. But I will say this. I don't think that's what his representation are doing. I think they do care about his legacy as a player. So, yes. It's not the age, but star quality. Cobby sells shirts. He certainly does. He does. The club are briefing it as an excuse to sell, obviously. He says here, there's a difference between briefs in response to interest in a player and the club actively pushing out a message inciting bids. Ineos want money. But can I ask you a question, Jimmy? A lot of people say that. Ineos are not going to be taking dividends out the club. So Ineos raising transfer fees and lowering the wage bill, what's the mileage in it? I get the accusation. What I'm unsure of, the people that are saying it, is how is it benefiting Ineos to weaken the squad, to lower the wage bill, to bring in, unless you think they're taking money out the club. And if so, where are you getting that information from? I'd love to understand that. Again, this is an owner who is pushing for the spending cap to be removed. It doesn't sound like someone who's going to be stripping money out the club. Because
won't the Glazers still be stripping money out, Terry?
They may still be taking their dividends. That could be part of it. That stands up and makes sense as an example. Then that's who we need to be. Listen, I'm almost exhausted of 20 years of saying we've got to get rid of the Glazers. No Man United fan wanted to do enough to get rid of them. They were not prepared to boycott. They were not prepared to sacrifice. They were not prepared to cut off the money. So we can no longer moan. We can't moan about leeches wanting money when what we do is give them money. It's a weird one to me. We've fed that habit for 19 years. I'm almost, do you know what I mean? I'm almost like over talking about it now. As in, not to you guys, just in general. Speaking of other transfers, what